Hello again, this is Father Christopher Etheridge, missionary at the IVE school in Papua New Guinea. Today is Wednesday, November 12th, the memorial of Saint Josaphat, Bishop and Martyr. Our gospel for today comes from Luke 17:11-19. As Jesus continued his journey to Jerusalem, he traveled through Samaria and Galilee. As he was entering a village, 10 lepers met him. They stood at a distance from him and raised their voice, saying, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And when he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." As they were going, they were cleansed. And one of them, realizing he had been healed, returned, glorifying God in a loud voice. And he fell at the feet of Jesus and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus said in reply, 10 were cleansed, were they not? Where are the other 9? Has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Then he said to him, "Stand up and go. Your faith has saved you." The Gospel of the Lord. The memorial of Saint Josaphat affords us the opportunity to seek his intercession for many things, which hold a close place to his now saintly heart. First, we can ask him to pray for an end of the war and definitive peace in the Ukraine, the birthplace of our bishop and martyr. He was born in 1580 in the town of Vladimir, and what was then part of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, but is now today part of the Ukraine. Second, we can also ask him that through his prayers, he may help us bring about that great desire of the heart of Christ, which is the unity of his church, ut unum sint, that they may be one. Saint Josaphat is known as the martyr of ecumenism. He shed his blood in defense of that first great mark of the church, which stands at the very heart of Christ's mission, her unity, especially in its visible form of union with the Church of Rome and obedience to papal authority. We can pray, too, that Pope Leo be renewed in his efforts to carry out this all-important mission. For as his predecessor, St. John Paul II, wrote in Ut Unum Sint, the mission of the Bishop of Rome is particularly directed to recalling the need for full communion among Christ's disciples. Thirdly, we can also ask St. Josaphat to pray for all of those young Catholic men and women who are discerning their vocations. In particular, we can ask him to pray for their courage to abandon all worldly desires and worldly opportunities for gaining money, status, or prestige for the sake of having the freedom to completely abandon themselves to God's holy will. Before he became Father Josaphat, John Kuncevich worked as a merchant's apprentice. He was such a good young businessman that his mentor offered him an opportunity to join him permanently. He promised John that their business endeavors would bring him wealth, and he even went so far as offering him one of the women in his family to be John's bride. But John turned down both. He knew that God was calling him to the priesthood and religious life. Lastly, we can ask St. Josaphat to pray for every one of us listening today. In particular, we can ask him to pray for the grace of the spirit of martyrdom. What do I mean by that? St. Josaphat was so convicted by the love of Jesus Christ and so convinced of the truth of the church that he was willing to give his life for Christ and his church. Once he proclaimed, "I am ready to die for the holy union with Rome and for the supremacy of St. Peter." But what are we willing and ready to die for? What is that truth, that holy ideal that has captured and consecrated your heart for the love and service of God? Is it your family's salvation, the defense of marriage and the family, the education of the young, the purity and holiness of the youth, devotion to Jesus and the Blessed Sacrament, true devotion to Mary, the holiness of our bishops and priests today? The list can go on. To truly show Christ our love for him and his church, our hearts should be consecrated to the truth. This desire was on the heart and mind of Christ himself hours before his death on the cross, when he prayed to the Father, "I do not ask that you take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil one. They do not belong to the world any more than I belong to the world. Consecrate them in the truth. As you sent me into the world, so I sent them into the world. And I consecrate myself for them, so that they also may be consecrated in truth. God bless you.
If you found this video fruitful, please feel free to share it with a friend or family member. Or if you would like to learn more about our missionary priests throughout the world and how to support them, please visit iveamerica.org. Thank you for watching, and God bless.